Warning. As part of this episode's film review, topics such as sexual assault will be discussed. Viewer discretion is advised. Good morning, and welcome back to another episode of Coffee Nick's Movie Picks. This is a podcast where I, your host, Nick Delaney, talk about anything from coffee to movies and whatever falls in between that, so buckle up. On this episode, I'm joined by an extra special guest, Dillon Hall, who is completely new to the show, to talk about the hit 2026 horror film Obsession. Have you seen it? Have you heard of that one? I bet you have. I bet you have. And in addition to that, I am going to be talking about the chocolate cherry latte from Second Address in Washington, D.C. All right, it's been a little while since the last episode. Thank you for bearing with me. And we're back to talk about this film that everyone has talked about. And actually, I was worried about talking about because do I even have anything new to contribute to this? But that is why I have a guest joining me on this episode. I'm really excited to introduce you all to Dillon. We have a really great time on this episode. There are a lot of laughs, almost some may argue too many laughs. We like to joke around a lot, but we have a lot of fun, and I hope you do too listening to this episode. But we have a few other things kind of on the agenda when it comes to Coffee Nick's Movie Picks coming up. We already have an episode recorded and ready to go. It is the next part of the Dollython with Gavin, and we're talking about Straight Talk. And we have a lot to say about that one. And then what you can look forward to in the future, I am planning on recording an episode for Lynchian Picks pretty soon here, talking about the straight story. Lots of straights happening, lots of straight this, straight that. You can tell that Pride Month is over. And there's also a bonus episode that is going to be coming out as a result of this episode. Dillon and I just had such a fun time. We got carried away, and there will be a bonus episode discussing Stop That Train, the hit movie starring RuPaul and Jujubee and others. We're going to be talking about it for like 15 minutes. It was kind of like this side tangent of this episode, and I was like, why not just make it its own little thing? So that's coming out. If it's not already out now, it will be out soon. So let's talk about coffee, should we? Yeah, let's talk about coffee. So for this episode, I went to this coffee shop called the Second Address. And this place is located in Capitol Hill in DC, almost closer to Eastern Market, if you're familiar with DC geography, really close by to Union Station. So if you're ever in Union Station, you can just kind of step out and this place is right there. I stepped out when it was like over 100 degrees outside and I almost melted on the way to this place, but it is worth the trip. It is so lovely in there. It's very small and quaint in all the best ways. They have a fabulous patio. Nice decor, nice people. I might be a little biased when I say that because I do have a friend that works here. But he wasn't even there when I went, so I was just going off of everyone else. And good vibes all around. It's a nice place to like crack open a book or maybe get some writing done. It's a nice place to work on a project or something. But when I was there, I had the chocolate cherry latte. I am a big fan of putting berry or cherry flavored items in coffee. I think we have lacked in recent history and recent coffee history. We have lacked berry coffee. And you may think that that doesn't sound like a good combination, but I don't know. Anytime I've had a blackberry latte, I've thoroughly enjoyed myself. I've been delighted by it, in fact. And anytime I've had a blueberry coffee, that's been pretty pleasant. So I would love to explore other ways we can make this work. Is cherry technically a berry? I don't know. When you get the little fruit snacks, it says cherries and berries. So that would imply that it's not part of the berry family, but it rhymes. I mean, maybe it's a cousin or I don't know, a half sister. Anyways, I like including those sorts of flavors in coffee, and this place did that. And Spoiler alert, in the Straight Talk episode, I'm also going to be talking about a cherry coffee. Yeah, so if you're not with it, get over it. Get over it. Um, it was delicious. It was delicious. And I should mention that this place uses syrups by Khan, not Noah Khan. This is just Khan, Kaan. And the syrups were particularly good. I assume the chocolate was just whatever mocha syrup they use. Maybe also by Khan. Maybe also by Khan, Noah Khan. Delicious flavors here. I drank it in about 2 seconds. Definitely did not savor anything because it was hot as sticky balls out. That's not professional. I'm sorry. It was hot out. It was hot out. And I just needed to quench my thirst. But this did such a good job. And let me try to actually talk about this in a critical way. But it had kind of like the tart cherry flavor, which I liked. It wasn't like candy cherry, like a Slurpee cherry. It still had the tartness that you would actually get with fruit. And I think it actually had real cherries in it because there was some like residue at the bottom, some bits of cherry in it, which I like that. I like that. You know, you can tell me it's natural, you can tell me it's real, but show me. Show me it's real. I want bits and bobs at the bottom. The good bits and bobs. You know what I mean. Does that make sense? It was lovely. The chocolate and cherry perfectly balanced each other, as you can imagine. This was a nice time. I will be visiting here. They also sell a lot of food items. I saw a lot of pictures of salads and sandwiches and the like. So, yeah, that's that. I did enjoy this place. So if you work on the hill, if you work nearby, if you're just passing by Union Station, stop by Second Address. And I also really like, so they call themselves Second Address. This is just from their website. They call themselves Second Address because they want to be the second place for people, which I think is funny because all these coffee places they talk about being the third place, but they're like, hell no, we're going to be the second place. We're better than that. So props to them. But they say that they're inspired by Abraham Lincoln's second inaugural address. Quote, with malice toward none, with charity for all. End quote. That's lovely. I deeply admire anytime an establishment, anytime a business uplifts queer voices outside of Pride Month, uplifting queer voices outside of Pride Month. Anyways, that is enough gibbering and jabbering. I think it's time to introduce our guest for this episode. I got something I want to talk about. Here with me in the stewed, as they call it, I'm here with this lovely little gay guy. He's kind of freaky. He's kind of wacky. He loves movies. He loves horror movies. And this is the first time that he is joining us on the podcast. This is my dear friend. Everyone, please welcome Dillon Hall to the show.
Hi everyone. Hi, I think please silence your applause. I'm here. You're popping my podcast cherry.
Popping your podcast cherry. Let's unpack that.
Yes. And on the episode I was listening to familiarize myself with this, you talked about being afraid of having a podcast.
Yes.
And I said, yes, they really do give anyone a microphone these days.
Yeah, Amazon, anyone can buy it. The truth is, I do not tell anyone I have a podcast, so that's why I love having guests on because that's the only marketing that ever happens here, is word of mouth when like I have a guest. So
Well, it's going down after this. This is
yes,
posted. My mom is on deck. She's ready to hear it.
yes,
My boss is also probably going to tune in since I talked to him about it today. You have two more listeners.
exactly. I do have like a small following of moms, my mom and the guest's mom, so it would fit right in. Now, familiarize us with your movie taste a little bit, your art taste.
Ooh, I love something spooky.
Okay.
Spooky, kooky, spooky. Ding dang dookie, if you will. No, I have been a huge horror fan since I was a kid. You can thank my dad for that one. We watched all the classics. I have a complete VHS set of the Nightmare on Elm Street movies.
Oh wow.
And it's like Freddy's arms spread, and it's of course it's all of them in VHS, so it's like this big.
Yeah.
It's iconic. But no, love something spooky. Um, especially like a good little indie horror flick, something like weird and new, even if it's low-key kind of bad. I'm like, you know what?
Yeah.
Someone put their heart and their soul into this, and
You're about to
sometimes
say
other
something else.
things.
Yeah.
And I yes, and I and I almost did. But no, I love anything gory, especially
Mm,
practical effects. Obsessed.
yes.
I know we just recently talked about this. We're gonna get ready to talk about it some more, but Evil Dead 2013
Yeah.
is one of my most favorite horror movies, or at least
Really?
like modern horror movies, I guess I should say.
Okay. I may
I
have trashed it a
I
little
know,
bit.
and I've so
But
I've
I do
heard, and
that.
that's okay. No, but I will never forget like seeing that in the movie theater. I like took my mother.
Uh-huh.
I made her take me because I was 14 when it came out. I'm like, oh, we're gonna go see this. She had no idea what it is, of course, and like sitting through that and not knowing what it is kind of crazy.
Right.
And I think she told me like I should pray after we watch that together. um,
Does she have a southern accent?
she does.
Okay, that
She does.
makes it
It,
better.
it comes out when I am around them. So
Yeah.
currently, I just have my little
Then.
like my gay guy. Oh no,
Oh, I was like,
them as my
mom, they,
parents.
them.
My
That's
parents,
okay.
my father, he, him, and my
Okay.
mother, she, her. um, yes, I'm. Oh, I'm from South Carolina. I'm from the South. I'm
Yes.
Southern Belle.
Southern Belle.
Um, but my gay accent overpowers that until I get on the phone and I'm talking like
Hi,
this. I'm
mama.
like, how y'all doing?
So I just imagine she's like, Dylan, let's pray.
Eh,
Something like that.
exactly.
Yeah.
She didn't say it in a serious manner. My parents are like very chill and cool with my chosen lifestyle.
Sure,
So
then,
I'm
yeah.
very fortunate for that. But no, it was funny, just like the 50,000 gallons of blood that's used in the final scene, and like just looking over at my mom while this is like going down, and she's like,
Yeah.
what are we doing?
That is like, as much as I like don't prefer that movie, that part I do think about regularly, just like all of the blood and just how it's like soaking the ground and like the ground was like squishing with blood. It was so good. And we're about to go see Evil Dead Burn
We
in
are.
Burn,
Yes, Evil Dead Burn.
not Wrath. Okay, I'm
Wrath is the
getting
next one.
they
What the-
shouldn't have announced it like so soon
It
because I'm
is kind
getting
of
them
crazy
mixed
that
up.
they did, and it kind of worries me.
Yeah,
Announce something that soon.
I know. But anyways, we're seeing that in T minus an hour and a half. So that's like on our minds right now. And I've also watched like all the Evil Dead movies in the past week, the originals. So I have a lot of thoughts, and I love the dedication to the practical effects in those. And I think like they were getting close to having like rain blood, but it was only ever like the blood splashes on the lights and like everything turns red, which
Sure.
I love that trope or gimmick or whatever you want to call it. Um, but yeah, so Evil Dead. What are some other movies that like if someone is getting to know you, they say like a lot about you?
Well, I guess this isn't necessarily horror, but I love Jurassic Park. It's actually my all-time favorite movie.
Yes.
We won't dwell on that because again, it's not horror, but that is my all-time favorite movie. I love it. Again, practical effects.
Yes.
But as far as horror films go, American Werewolf in London is one of my favorites.
Yes.
God, I'm like, of course, I'm drawing blank now that I'm sitting here talking to you about this. Again, not necessarily horror, but has elements. Gone Girl is one of my all-time favorites.
Mm,
David Fincher, one of the greats.
yes.
Amazing. What else? What else has come? Oh, recently, I'm just thinking like new stuff now that we're talking sort of modern. The First Omen,
Yeah.
loved, especially like the whole last 20-30 minutes, and especially after watching. I just recently watched Possession.
Right.
Have you seen that?
I have not.
Okay, there is a scene that essentially like mirrors the scene of her like about to give birth. Like that was pulled like directly from Possession,
Okay.
which was pretty cool to see.
Yeah.
God, you need to tell me a few yours so it can spark
Oh
my
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 gosh.
my brain,
Oh my
kick it
gosh.
into
I
gear.
wasn't expecting a question.
This is my podcast.
Hey, take it. Take it, honestly. Okay, so I love Alien. I love Barbarian.
Ooh, yeah.
I love Bring Her Back in recent history was a favorite of mine. Again, like I think like I really love gore, but
Yes.
I'm kind of on like the linear scale of gore. I'm kind of at like the Bring Her Back level, but not quite to the Terrifier level.
Sure.
Terrifier is definitely like where I draw the line. That's not for me because it feels like a bit purposeless. No offense to the Terrifier fans out there. I see you. I see you. But I like kind of just like very gritty gore. Trying to think what else. Of course, like all of David Lynch's films, which I've talked about like exhaustively. Um, I can't think of any either.
You know what?
It's a hard
We're doing a
question.
great job.
Yeah.
And to comment more on your gore thing, I have seen all the Terrifier movies, and again, it does like it takes to a level that it's like I like the gore to like shock me, to like make me like sort of
Yeah.
recoil, and like Terrifier is just like that's the whole movie. So
Yeah.
like it literally from I'm just thinking of the third one, which I've seen the most recently, but like from the opening scene to like the very last moment, and it's strangely like a long like the second movie's like 2 hours and 20 minutes, which is
Yes.
crazy.
Crazy.
From like beginning to end is just like it doesn't matter. Like the gore has no like purpose.
Right.
Bring Her Back has like one of the scenes where I that knife chewing scene
I was just about to bring that up.
literally crazy. Every
Yeah.
time I watch that movie, I know it's coming, and it makes my skin crawl every time I see it.
Yes. I actually haven't, even though I own it, I have not watched that movie since it came out because it just made me so sick.
It is, and it's like it's brutal
Yeah.
and like
It's like a devastating movie.
yes,
But yeah, and I love like the build up. The gore doesn't just happen in that movie. There's like a build up to it. Like the knife chewing scene, for example, is like he opens the cabinet and it has like kind of a loud noise that's a little shocking. But then we get the character like chopping up a melon. So it's kind of like establishing a knife. And then like we kind of are offset by like the little kid walking. And it like there's all these like kind of moving parts that come together. Whereas Terrifier, it's like here's a chainsaw and here's a vagina. Do the math. And it's like it just feels very like 1 plus 2. Here we go. And that I guess that sounds a bit snobby, but
no, not at all. And I totally see that, especially now because I feel like in the past recent years we've had like a few horror movies that have come out that are like what I consider like serious horror. Because when I think of horror, like my mind goes to like camp, especially in like when we talk about the World of Evil Dead. Like it's partially like comedic
yeah.
to me, like especially the original trilogy. But movies like Bring Her Back like remove that scope of like humor,
Yeah.
and it is just like dark and dirty, and it just feel like obviously like creates a reaction for you, and I think that's like kind of where we're seeing I think a lot of successful horror go towards that like gritty
Yeah.
sort of I don't know, it feels like I guess people are so desensitized to all of the crazy shit that's
Right.
happening in our lives, but like these stuff that's like sometimes feels a little bit of a downer, which were there elements of the movie we're going to talk about today that definitely feel
Mhm.
that way. But yeah, I don't know. I like the direction it's going. Like I like that. Like I leave and I'm like that was really good, but Jesus Christ.
Right. Yeah. Like I lost a few hairs watching it. Like yeah, I totally agree. And like of course everyone's talked about it, like kind of like that divide into like art house horror. And I think that's when we fully saw camp just like completely peeled out of horror.
Yeah.
And I think we're at this interesting point now where it's like slowly being layered back in. We have so many comedians that are turning into like horror directors. We're about to talk about one of them today. But camp is like kind of coming back, or at least like horror is starting to have a sense of humor again. And I kind of love it both ways. I kind of love the
Yeah.
art house, quote unquote art house, and then also like this horror with a sense of comedy to it. That's why like Alien's one of my favorite movies, but also like Barbarian is one of my favorites.
Yeah.
It's just like inside me there are two wolves. Yeah, as the saying goes.
One's campy
Yeah.
and one's not.
One is sophisticated, darling.
Yes.
Yes. Anyways, thank you for that intro. You've established yourself as the go-to horror expert for this
Me.
podcast. That's you. So tell us, every episode we like to have a coffee thought, which this is just a segment dedicated to talk about whatever we want, whatever's on our mind. And you are close personal friends with the famous drag queen Delta Work. And on her podcast, she talks about frying the small fish. And I should credit the Very Delta podcast. So this is a space where you can do that, but also we can fry the big fish if you want. But tell us, where do you want to take this? What do you want to talk about today?
Well, first, I have to address close personal friends is a stretch. I am obsessed with Delta Work. I love her
Right.
so much. Third season of Drag Race, iconic.
So good.
The beginning of Barry That, and then became Very Delta. Um, I think I had like DM'd her too many times, and she said like, "Let me follow this little gay boy and
Yeah.
see what's up." And I'll send her memes, typically about Diet Coke. She loves them. She'll like, sometimes she'll message back. My ex got me a cameo from her for my birthday.
Aw.
Love, love. I've seen her twice here in DC.
Yes.
She's amazing, amazing. Anyways, close personal friend, I'll take it. Anywho, my take, and I said this to someone the other day, and they sort of looked at me like I was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But this is something I've been thinking about. When I first moved into the DMV, I was in Alexandria, and then I moved into DC. When I moved into DC, I got rid of my car like immediately because I'm able to walk to work.
Yeah.
The other day I was walking home from work, and there was all this traffic and all these people blowing their horns, being crazy as the DC drivers are.
Yes.
You would know, being one. I think I should be compensated for not having a vehicle in DC. I think there should be something set aside by the federal government that says thank you for not driving through this city. Thank you for taking the public transit.
You know what? You're right. You're right.
Thank you for using your legs.
Yeah.
Thank you for not hitting the crazy moped drivers or the people on the city bikes, me,
Yeah.
who run red lights.
Yeah.
And yeah.
I want to know who looked at you funny when you said that, because I thought we were all about walkable cities.
That's what I thought too. And you know who it was? No one other than Daniel Strickland.
Oh,
Yes.
my goodness.
Yes.
I would think that he would be on board more than anyone.
You would think, but sometimes people you love the most hurt you the worst.
Right. They
And
find funny ways of surprising.
He requested a shout out tonight, so you're welcome.
You'll go down in infamy,
In
Daniel
herstory.
Strickland. Yes, in
Yes.
herstory for your
Insolent.
transgressions.
Literally. But yeah, I just feel I should be thanked for not piloting a vehicle
Yeah.
in DC. Not anymore. I did
Hmm.
to and fro from work, but I've had it.
Yeah. I think that it should be incentivized in some way. And I think like that's a really good way to, I don't know, jumpstart a walkable city. Or, I mean, there's no jumpstarting a walkable city because of just like the infrastructure and everything, but like incentivizing like public transportation and like green ways of moving from one place to another.
I should be
yeah.
getting a check or like one of those drawstring bags in the mail. Something
I
should be
want
going
a
on.
slap bracelet.
I want a slap
God
bracelet
damn
that
it.
says I walk.
I walk to work.
Yes.
Do you walk to work?
I do walk
You
to
do,
work.
right.
I do walk to work. Sometimes I take the bike.
Yeah.
Because if I leave early, like I can usually like beat all the traffic.
Yeah.
I like to leave my house like 5 a.m. and I'm just pedaling. Like this.
5 a.m. pedaling.
Mhm.
Wow. There's worse things to be pedaling at 5 a.m., mister.
Yes, you are absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
I want to combine your thought with my thought, which is, when do electric bikes become motorcycles? Or a moped? Or like,
I understand where you're coming from, and I understand that every time I get onto one of those bikes and I do not have a helmet on.
I don't.
Or every time I'm walking down the sidewalk and one of them flies past me
Yes.
like a bat out of hell on the sidewalk. Someone hit me with one the other day. I didn't knock me off my feet, but I was shoulder checked by a person on a bicycle.
It's crazy. I don't wear a helmet on those things because I'm not bringing a helmet to the bar.
Right. Give me a brain
Yeah.
break, girl. I'm ready to go.
But like, I don't know. I mean, definitely keep any sort of electric whatever off the sidewalk, I think, especially in DC where like a lot of it is residential. So like the sidewalks aren't wide enough for the both of us, you know.
Right.
But also like make more dedicated bike lanes.
I mean, there are.
There are a lot, but like of course, and I guess sometimes they don't use them. But I don't know. I just
I guess a lot of it does happen on like the one ways.
yeah
I'm walking like there's one right by my house, and I'm always have my AirPods in, so I'm walking down the street and I turn around and someone's dinging their bike at me on the sidewalk.
yeah.
First, don't ding at me.
Don't ding at me.
Just hop off the curb and go around me.
Yeah.
You're on a bike that's traveling 25 miles an hour.
25. You
How?
think so?
I don't know. I have no
I
concept
mean,
of
definitely
speed.
like 15, right?
I don't. If you head down like a hill in Connecticut,
Oh.
I've hit air. But that's probably just I'm so skinny.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I think there's a hierarchy of like the right of way. Right of way? Is it the right of way? Yes.
Yes.
I didn't right away, right away.
Is it? You know what? We get it.
Whatever. They get it. There's a hierarchy here where it is people on foot get eaten by people on bikes, get eaten on people on electric bikes, get eaten by people in cars, get eaten by
Bus.
bus.
And bus get eat by train.
And bus, stop that train.
Stop
Stop
that
that
train
train.
because it's gonna hit the bus.
Right. We have actually I have something I want to talk about. Talk about. Good album, by the way.
Yes, we love Madonna.
We're
I
here.
can't believe she's 16.
I know, right?
Sorry.
um, what was I saying? Oh, yes. We're here to talk about a movie today. This movie is called Obsession. Ever heard of it? And basically, it is this movie about a guy named Bear who has this crush on a lady in his friend group named Nikki. And he is so kind of torn up about this crush that he doesn't know what to do with himself. He doesn't even know how to ask her out. He goes to this like kind of witchcraft shop, or how would you describe it? Like occult
Um,
stuff.
yeah, yeah. It was giving like one of those like it's like every little town has one of those like little kitschy stores with
Yeah.
like little knickknacks and goodies and it
Yeah.
was giving that.
One of those things, whatever they're
Yes,
called.
yes.
And he buys a one wish willow, which the packaging says that if you break it in half, it will grant any wish you have. So he does that. He wishes that Nikki would love him more than any girl in the world, or however he phrases it. And wouldn't you know, the wish comes true. But it has horrific consequences. This was directed by Curry Barker,
Mm-hmm.
correct?
That's correct.
Who has previously made a bunch of like short films on YouTube and everything, like kind of like a lot of skits and sketches and stuff. As I mentioned earlier, he comes from a comedy background, and all of the actors in this movie are kind of like before this were unknown for the most part, and after this movie have now become like household names, and they're on like late night shows and stuff like that, and like have huge Instagram followings. So this was needless to say, this was a breakout success. It's earned millions and millions of dollars. I think Gavin, friend of the show, just sent us before we recorded this that it just broke the record for like making the most at the box office out of any original horror film of this century,
It's crazy.
which is just crazy to think about. And the budget was so small. So this is just a huge success for original horror movies, and we love to see it. Tell me a little bit about your experience with this film. What were your thoughts going into it? How many times have you seen it? General feelings, vibes.
I loved Obsession. I'm obsessed.
Right.
One might say that. No, I remember like when sort of like mumblings of it coming out or like happening like on Twitter and stuff. I kept seeing that screen grab of like Nikki with the blood on her face and she had that like she was like mid laugh and I was like, okay, like what's this about? Like there's they keep mentioning the scene. There's like this one scene that's like had to be cut back several times because of this, that, and the other so they could obtain their R rating.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, obviously I need to see it because if there's anything pushing NC-17, I'm gonna be there. I don't care what it is.
Right.
I'm gonna be sad. No, I've seen it 3 times. Last time I watched it was with you.
Yes, yes, it was.
Which I also have feelings about our experience
That
watching it
viewing.
versus the
Yeah.
first time I viewed it. But yes, I loved it. I went in like avoiding any information about the movie that I
Mhm.
could possibly find. Like on Twitter, I was like on Twitter, like on the block, checking block word obsession. I was blocking the director's name, this, that, and the other. I didn't want to see anything about it because
Yeah.
I knew it was something that was going to be good. And I feel like this these days, like movies, this sort of in that same category gets so hyped up and talked about, and I get too excited, and then I see it, and then I'm let down. So
Yeah.
I've been intentionally avoiding a lot of stuff and a lot of like different medias that I enjoy. Like I just try not to indulge in any of it anymore because I want to like be there and experience it for the first time when I see it in the theater. But no, I it's so good. It's so good.
Yes.
The thing this sticks out to me the most, like as I'm sitting here thinking, is the score and the sound
Mm.
design of the movie. I really loved the sound of the One Wish Willow when they pull it out of the
Yes.
packaging, that little tune, and as you watch the movie, it changes every time you hear it, which is
Mhm.
interesting, especially when he pulls it and he's trying to do it and it's not working for him, and it makes this like sort of sad droning.
Spoiler alerts, by the
Oh
way,
my God, so sorry.
are in effect. Well, you didn't
You
spoil
have to,
anything there,
yes,
but spoiler alert is in effect for this episode now. I believe everyone has seen this movie. Everyone and their mother and their dog has seen this movie. But just so you know, we're just getting right into spoilers right away. So continue though.
yes, sorry. That was a little detail that I really enjoyed. And I have one more thing, and then I'm gonna let you
Yeah.
say your piece so I don't hog the entire thing. But I loved, especially in my experiencing in the theater, how loud the
Mhm.
shock or like the moments of like drama were. Like it was like the movie outside of all of that was pretty like even keeled until like something was going on, and it's like they like ramped the volume up like 20,
Right.
and I loved it because it was like it sort of was jump scary in a way of just how loud it was. Um, but I just thought it added so much to like the experience of watching it. Like you want to like cover your ears and sometimes cover your eyes, and it was just so good.
Yes, absolutely. I completely agree. I love, maybe even adore this movie. It is so well made from like every single angle. It's beautiful. It is a
Yes.
beautiful film. It uses lighting and, like you said, sound so well. There are so many moments in this movie where like we are just kind of like looking at a variety of shadows, like a shadowy corner in a room, but instead of just like a shadowy corner, kind of see like maybe the figure of one shadow, the figure of another, like a vase, but then is that a human or is that, and or the glistening of like Nikki's eyes we see a lot in the movie. It uses lighting very effectively, and also like you said, sound. I heard this somewhere, not sure where. I kind of went through a spree of like reading everything there is, watching all the interviews for this movie, but Corey Barker designed it so that when we are witnessing what the characters are witnessing. A lot of horror movies these days kind of like give like a really shrill noise whenever there's a jump scare. Like maybe gives like a loud boom noise just to kind of like really make you jump. This movie doesn't do that. There's no like shrill noise once the jump scare is revealed or anything. You're kind of experiencing things as the characters are. And I think he mentioned at one point, like, what would Bear be hearing in this scene? Or like, how would he be feeling? How do we translate that into sound? And I really like that it did that and it opted to kind of take itself out of like normal genre conventions or standard genre conventions and kind of do its own thing a bit. I think that's what made it such a successful original horror film. Going into this film, I didn't quite know what to think either. My friend Reese, who is a regular on the show, he was so hyped about this movie and he kept sending me trailers and everything. And I watched them and I was like, okay, again, like you, I was kind of burnt by like all of the original horror movies that just kind of flopped because of really high expectations. It's like, oh, that wasn't that good. But so I was very, very cautious about this one. Um, And even going into the movie, I went and saw it opening night, Thursday night, because I just kind of didn't have anything else to do, but was like, hey, this is coming out and I'm sure it'll be good. And it even took me some buy-in, like for the first act. I didn't quite know where it was going with like the cat dying. Then when it gets there, it's there for the rest of the film. And I think that's in large part due to the performances as well. Michael Johnston and Indy Navarrete just are amazing performers and like carried the film. Um, Michael Johnston, who plays Bear, did an excellent job playing like kind of like a Courage the Cowardly Dog type guy, where he's like, "Oh gosh, like I'm sorry," like just blubbering at every second. But he's also just a pathetic guy. Like he's not a fabulous character by any means. Like he's just kind of like a dude that's thrown in this situation, which I think is like kind of what the best characters are. And then Indy Navarrete is just like turned the complete opposite, turned up to 1000. And she just gives us so many iconic moments. So describe those, Dylan. What are some of your favorite moments from this film?
God, well, first I want to talk a little bit about what you said about Bear because
Yeah.
that was something before I came over here. I was thinking about his character,
Yeah.
and to me, the whole movie from like the very beginning, especially when he's in his house, he is giving me like he looks a little stinky to me.
He does. He's a
He
little
looks a little
greasy.
stinky. He looks greasy. Like he looks like sort of dirty.
Hmm.
I don't know. Like some people like they like that the grit, the grime, and
Yeah.
something
The
like,
mud.
no, baby. If I can smell you, pack up your
If
bag.
I can feel the smell in my throat,
Yes. Yeah.
got it.
Well, we know about that. um, no, he was, and he's like such an attractive guy,
Oh,
but played like this
yeah.
sort of like crimey loser in
Yeah.
a way. Like,
The
and I
Andre
don't,
pictures.
especially like when the scene where the one of the first night that him and Nikki spend together,
Mhm.
and she takes her shirt off and is like trying to kiss him. I was really confused in that moment of like where we were with the ages of the characters because he was literally acting like it was his first kiss he'd ever had.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was something one of my first few critiques when I was watching this was I was like, you come on,
Yeah.
look at you, look at me. We've kissed a few people.
Right. Right.
um but no, yeah, that was I guess sorry, I don't want to get off on my tangent on that, but
Yeah.
no, I loved it. It was like that whole this like very uncomfortable, but like seeing him kind
Yeah.
of like wriggle, like he was like very interested in her, but like it was just so shocking for him to like experience her like desire, which was very interesting. But anyways, I think he's gross. I think he's
Yeah.
gross.
Bear is a very gross character. I mean, I love Barbarian. That is one of my favorite movies, and which I think I've said for the third time on this
It's
episode.
okay.
I'm so
It
sorry
is a
about that.
great movie.
I love that movie. But I think a lot of my love for that movie carries over to this one because much like this movie, that one is sort of one where a woman is depicted to be like this huge greater evil. In that movie, like the mother, they call her like the huge disfigured lady in the basement. In this one, like Nikki is very much painted to be like the monster of the movie. Like she's the one doing all of these grotesque things and everything. But when you take like the layers back, it's actually like a man pulling the strings and kind of wishing for this to happen or like desiring for this to happen. In Barbarian, it was like the older guy who was like bedridden in the basement. And this one, it's Bear, who's like, he wished for this, he wanted this. And now that he has it, he can't deal with the responsibilities of it. So, I mean, just jumping right to the end, not that, we're going to go back and cover
Yes, yes. Our
all of
favorite
this, but like,
moments.
I think that it's such a unique horror film in that way because like the monster of the movie, quote unquote, is the final girl.
Yeah.
And I wasn't expecting this to be like a final girl type movie, but it is in a weird way. And that's actually like as much as this movie has been talked about, and that's why it took me so long to do a review, because I was like, what do I even have that hasn't been said already? This is one thing that I don't see talked about enough, where like it kind of is like really clever, and it has like a really great critique on like this pathetic masculinity in the film. It almost is like Bear can't even lift a finger himself. I mean, we get in the opening scenes where he is like contemplating telling Nikki that he has a crush on her and everything, and he makes that comment about like, you're my little freaky Nikki, and she's like, what the fuck, like what's wrong with you?
Right.
And she, thinks on it. She's like, do you have a crush on me? Because now's the time to say it. And even when it's like all put on a platter for him, he still can't say it. It's so ridiculous, but I think it depicts really well like this just pathetic type of man. And then of course later on in the film there is what I would describe as a rape scene, where he has sex with Nikki, fully knowing that she basically is not in control of her own autonomy. What were your thoughts on that scene?
Yeah, no, I've definitely seen like a lot of commentary about that, and it is like definitely. I'm trying to remember that definitely happens before the phone call to the actual number.
Yes,
Okay, it happens before then.
but
Okay.
it's definitely after like he knows the
Yes,
wish
for
is
sure. It was
real.
after the dinner
Yes.
scene.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, no, it's I would say yeah, for sure definitely feels like a rape scene and like her sort of looking to be like not there. Like it was giving like she was like disassociated fully. And like
Yeah.
maybe that's what it was. Like maybe like whatever one of my favorite aspects of this movie was the jumping between Nikki and this other Nikki and how
Yeah.
quickly it would happen. And like I wonder in that scene, like was it like did the other Nikki like let go
Right.
and then jump back in afterwards? You know, like it's
Mhm.
and that does add like such an element of darkness, which I think we discussed
Yeah.
earlier of like there's elements in this movie that are oddly sometimes comedic.
Right.
But that scene in particular was one that you're like, your blood runs cold when you're watching it. It's like, oh
Yeah.
my God.
That
Like,
definitely is like the most horrifying moment of the movie to me,
yeah.
kind of like a deeper, like emotional, spiritual level, I guess. It sounds silly to say, but like even the way that like the score accompanies that scene,
Yeah.
it gets more like wah,
And the
wah,
like
wah, like
unauthenticness of her like her moaning is very
yeah.
like I mean it sounds like you're watching like
It's like
a cheesy porn. Like
pornographic.
yes.
Yeah.
And it just like no one no one does that, like
Yeah, it's so strange. And I think that one element of the movie that I'm kind of just thinking about now is kind of like it's just like a theme of the movie is dissociation, and like Nikki being someone who has gone through trauma has kind of dissociated her identity and created a new one that can kind of act in this relationship.
yeah, for sure. I mean, I definitely think like I said, that was one of the parts that I was really like I thought was like one of the most terrifying elements of this movie is her like like I feel like she's like physically participating, but like it's like she's like obviously trapped in like
Yeah.
this body that is no longer hers, and like that flash in and out is nuts. Especially like the very beginning scene where you see her like the
Mhm.
first sort of flirtatious behaviors with Bear, and it seems like very inauthentic because you see this like other Nikki. You see Nikki at the very beginning of the movie, and you're like, okay, like I feel like I kind of know that girl. Like I know several girls. They're just kind of like cool girls, like can kind of like hang with the
Yeah.
guys, so to speak. Um, here I sit, a gay that always hangs with the girls saying that, but but no, seeing her like leaning her head on the window, she's talking to him, and then like coming around and opening up the door, and is like, I know what you want. You want me to, you want me to come back to your place,
That
and then her being like, this is fucking crazy. Like, what am I doing? Is
Yes.
ugh.
That is one of like the strangest, I like it makes me the most uncomfortable was that
Yes.
very first scene where the wish is made. And I was kind of like, I've never laughed out of discomfort before, but I was in that scene because, she crouches down by the door and she's like, wait, wait, wait. no, my cat died. And he's like, what? She's like, yeah, right, right.
No, your cat
No,
died.
no, your cat died. Right. And she keeps saying like, yeah, right, right. And
Right,
it just
playing
like
this sort of like
made me laugh.
dumb caricature of like
Yeah,
what you would think of like this, I don't know, like a quote unquote like like dumb bimbo like trope, you see sometimes. And
exactly.
I
And
think like,
it was almost like she was calibrating almost to like
yeah.
this wish where she didn't quite know how to attach herself to Bear yet. So she was like almost like sinking.
Mhm.
Um, yeah,
And then her being like the real her still being like sentient
yeah.
inside. That again is most like, because like when you hear that the phone call and like hear her screaming, like what is happening?
What is
Like on,
that?
yes, what is going
Yeah,
on the other, like on the other side, so to speak.
right.
um I do have to, I guess, like one big like you said, we're reel back a little bit. I wasn't sure what to think about the movie until we got to the scene. I think, at least my opinion, I was sort of on the fence until we got to the scene where the sandwich.
Yeah,
I think that's when I kind of locked in. I said, "Oh, this is nuts."
right.
Because like obviously like the cat, you see this like this fake little like stuffed cat at the very beginning, and like
Yeah,
like everyone I've watched that movie with, I'm sitting next to them and they're like, "Oh, that looks so fake." Like, first of all, shut up.
it's a movie.
It's a
You want
movie.
them to kill a real
Second,
cat?
like that added like such like a another element to that. Like, yes, the cat looks fake.
Yeah.
But now you're eating a sandwich with your dead cat in it. You know?
Who's laughing now? Not me.
Me. No, I thought, and that's I think when I sort of locked in.
Yeah,
And another one of the standout moments for me was the party that she wasn't supposed to be at, and
yeah,
then ends up being at. The poem she reads.
yes.
I loved that. I thought it was so dark and twisted and played into this role of her thinking like um not a poem, it was like a short story.
Yeah. Hmm.
Of being like referring to Bear as her little brother. Like, oh, he's just like at the very beginning you hear who was it? I don't know if it was the
Uh,
Sarah character. Is her name
Sarah?
Sarah?
Yes,
Yes.
Sarah.
Talking like, oh well, she just says that you're just like a little brother to her. And then when she reads the story, it's like that thought
Yeah.
is still up there, but it's in this twisted, like incestuous storyline that she's playing out. Like
Right.
that, I loved that. It was so weird and so awkward, and I literally felt like the way that it was filmed and like played out. Like I feel like I've witnessed scenarios of like in a social situation where someone is like that person, and
Yeah.
everyone's like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah. Like,
But
do you know that clip of that person standing in front of the class reading something and they're like, I want it to end. I want
yes.
it to end. It's like very bad.
Yes, it's yeah, it's good like emo.
Yeah.
I'm gonna slip my wrist poem.
Yeah.
Yes,
And it's like, can I leave the room right now?
yes, yes. Hot topic,
I
open mic.
hot topic open mic. Yes. I have a very interesting thought about this, an interesting discussion question that I've been bringing up to some of my friends. But we know that Nikki is a writer who, even before The Wish, is working on some sort of short story that she talks to Bear about. We know that the story is a love story, but not a romance. So we don't know. We also don't know when they're at the party what type of game they're playing. I imagine it's they pulled a block out and it says a dare on it. And if I had to guess, that block said something like read the last note in your notes app. So she probably pulled up the short story. But what I'm wondering, my question is it the short story that she was working on? Is this writing from the normal Nikki? Was this already
Uh,
her writing
yeah,
this? So I think that's an interesting question. I've got a lot of people that are just like, no, that was the obsessed Nikki writing that. But what do you think?
that's a great question. I think like looking back, like last time I watched it, I thought that brick says nothing in relation to what just occurred on the screen.
Maybe.
I think it was a the scene right before they end up at the party. She's pissed because he wants to go by himself, and she's like throwing a fit. I think that was a moment for her to sort of retaliate in a public way, but also to keep it Nikki, to keep
Right.
it like I'm a writer. It's a love story, it's not a romance, which is kind of the movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but no, I don't think it was actually written in there. I think she
Interesting.
I think she like conjured that shit up on her way over there because she knew like there was going to be an opportunity for a scene to be caused, and I think that was that.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So we have like a third
Yes, I think
secret
it was
answer.
like a retaliation fully.
Interesting. That's one like the great thing about this movie is that it doesn't answer every question. I think that movies are so much better when there is like moments like that left up to interpretation. Um, yeah, very
Yeah, and
cool.
it sounds like the director's going to like keep creating, or at least his next movie is going to be within that same universe.
Oh,
Have you
really?
heard anything about this?
I haven't.
So his next movie, I can't think of the title right now, but it's about like ghost hunters or
Yeah.
something, and they end up like, every movie about ghost hunters, they're like, the ghosts aren't real, they end up being real. I think it's obviously, I hope it's not that plot line, but at
Mhm.
least the small description that I've seen is about that. And there is a scene apparently in this new movie that's coming out that is of the aftermath of, at least I think it's like gonna be like on a television, like it's Nikki getting arrested or like her trial on TV or like something
Interesting.
talking about like what happened because she's obviously, I mean, how do you explain three dead people? You're wearing one of their scalps and
Right. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I think that final, I guess you could say, evolution of Nikki in this film, where she has like killed Sarah and is like trying to portray herself as Sarah by wearing her hair and like drawing the tattoos on
tattoos.
herself and
Yes.
everything, and also like slamming her head with a brick. Um, yeah,
I didn't even. Okay.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. She's like trying to be like Sarah, so she's even trying to die like Sarah is. It's such this like I don't know, this cool depiction of obsession and love where you love someone so much you're pretending to be what you imagine they love. It's like a talented Mr. Ripley sort of thing almost where you're
Mhm.
like becoming like a different person in order to play this role. Um I just love that the movie goes there. It just does one of those great horror movie things where like it kind of evolves on its own idea.
Yeah.
Um it's so cool.
Yes. I think before we get to the end, though, we
Mhm.
obviously before the end of the movie, so to speak, we have to talk about Sarah's death scene,
Yes.
which
Which is the scene that you were mentioning earlier that they had to cut back on.
yes, they had to go back on.
Is
Do you know
that one?
why?
Because apparently it went on for multiple hits
Yeah,
on the brick.
and apparently the actress was asked to come in and record like gurgling and moaning sounds of her own voice because I think the scene where it pans to after the hit happens and you like just see her like mutilated face,
Yeah.
she's still alive, and they were gonna have like her still breathing and have like bloody bubbles and shit like coming out of her face like she was still alive. And I think that got cut because I did not last time we watched it. I did not see anything that looked like she was still like
Yeah.
alive and moving. But apparently, there was a section that was cut that was her still like, even though she's like beat to hell, she's still breathing and like
Yeah.
watching this, which I thought would have been really cool to see. And obviously, I think they obviously cut back on several of the actual face smashes
Can
as
I
well.
can I say something?
Please.
Does that deserve NC-17?
I honestly
Because
don't
I don't
know.
know. I feel like I've seen worse in an R
I
movie.
definitely have too, but I also I don't I feel like we're sort of again this is could be a whole nother podcast, but I think they're like we're regressing in like what we sometimes allow on screen, especially when
Right.
it comes to like violence, which is weird
Yeah.
because there's a lot of other things that seem to slide onto like a movie screen that I'm like, why am I sitting here watching this, but I can't see someone get their face smashed in 18
Right.
times with a brick?
I mean, in Hereditary, I literally saw like this little girl's like head fly off and like
Right, and
rotting
eat
with
her.
maggots in
Yeah,
a on the street.
right.
I don't know. I just feel like I've
Can't see my girl
seen
Sarah
worse.
gurgling some
Yeah, let her
blood.
gurgle. Let her
Let her
gurgle.
gurgle. Gurgling.
Let her gurgle.
Yes.
Yeah.
I gurgled at the DC Eagle.
Cut that. Producer, producer.
But no, loved.
Yeah,
I the way the scene was filmed, I sort of knew it was coming because it's
right.
slowly moving. The camera's moving in on her, and it's like, oh, I'm gonna open this letter with you. Oh, you should have
Yeah.
kissed me that night. Which also fuck Bear for like taking this strange opportunity to be like, my girlfriend just threatened to kill herself in front of me and did all this crazy shit. Now I'm gonna go and make
So
out
did
with
we get
this.
together? Yeah.
Yes, let me smoke some weed with my friend from high school and let's make out and read a college acceptance letter. And I love when Bear's like sitting there in the seat and Nikki comes around. No, 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 no.
Oh,
Baby, this is
baby.
all your fault. This is all your fault, and you're gonna have to help me. You're gonna have to help me get rid of her body. No, I love, and she like in that scene it was like such like this like coddling
Yeah.
voice she was using, which when I'm spoken to that way in like any setting, it sort of like really irritates me. Like I hate that like kindergarten talk, so to speak. But it was like just like so like sickly funny in
Yeah.
that moment. Oh baby, this is all your fault. You
Yeah.
wished for this.
It's so haunting. And that scene comes right after when he's sneaking out of the bedroom. And right before he leaves, you just get like this whimper. And it's like, Bear, please kill me. Like, kill me. And he just ignores her.
Well, no,
Um,
doesn't ignore her. He says, "What is it like? What's so hard about being with me?" Which sealed the deal for me. I
yeah.
said, get him off the TV. I'm not watching this.
Yeah.
Get. I've
It's,
had it.
yeah.
I've had it with Bear. It actually, well, my deal was sealed way before that. But in that moment, I was like, again, obviously, it's an unreal scenario for like your quote unquote partner to ask you to like kill them because they're suffering in this crazy scenario. But like to
Yeah.
be like, use this as a moment to like make it about you.
Right. Yeah. Why why did he stay with Nikki? That might be a dumb question.
In the words of another great movie, we accept the love we think we deserve.
Gag it. Gag it. And that's a wrap.
And that's it. And we'll see you next week.
Oh, wait. Yeah, we'll see you
Oh,
next week. Before we go, like I think we both have critiques here. Let's unpack some of those. What are the
okay.
critiques?
Again, one of my first critiques again was the scene with where Bear was acting like he was like 12 years old, kissing
Yeah.
this first person he's ever kissed. God. I don't necessarily say this as a critique because there are a couple of other movies that do this, and I think it's effective. But I had a really hard time with the time the movie took place.
Mm,
There were certain moments where I feel like cell phones. There was like a scene featuring like cell phones for sure.
right.
There are several like the cars all seem older to me.
Yeah.
And I think also the way the movie was filmed, it sort of looks a little like I don't know, grainier in the way that it's filmed, and it
Right.
made me feel like it was taking place like in another time that's not like present day.
Yeah. Nostalgia baiting.
Yes. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And their ages were very unclear to me as well.
I think
Because I was like, so one person's trying to get in high school, but they're all out at a bar. Get in high school. They're trying to get in
right.
college, but then they're all out at a bar, but then they seem to have their own homes in some of the scenes, which I was really
Right. That is
confused about sometimes.
what I imagined was there was a line given that's like, oh, I can't believe it's been 6 years since we graduated or something.
Yes,
So I was like, okay, so they're all 24, but they have their own homes.
they're
But
all working at their friend's dad's music shop.
yeah, so and it doesn't seem like any of them have gone to college only because like that's not mentioned as a part of like their friend group, and some of them are talking about Sarah's talking about going to school. So it's like I imagine that this friend group stayed at home since high school, working at this music shop, but they all also have their own home somehow. Which that's like stuff to unpack about Bear is that his grandma just passed away and he now lives in her house. And that's something in Slater's house.
Yeah. Oh my God. I literally was on my way. I was like, we have to talk about Slater. Crazy. That they
There's
felt.
so much to talk about this movie.
There
Like
is. There's
this is
so many
really,
holes.
yeah. The music video that Crank was shot in, right?
I think is it Dance?
Dance,
You know what? One of those
one of them,
thick ass videos that Slater's been releasing.
right?
Go stream Worst Girl in America
I'm wearing a shirt.
by Slater. And potentially Worst Man in America
We'll see. We'll
coming
see.
soon. You heard it here first on the pod.
Yes. So there's also like this supposed theme of Bear like not quite coping well with the fact that his grandma is gone and he's like supposed to be watching over her cat and he can't do that and the
And
cat
somehow the
dies.
cat opened up a bottle of pills and took them
And
all.
why did the pills say do not eat at the bottom?
Yes. What is that?
I don't know. That's weird, right?
I think so.
Um Yeah. So that like it didn't quite make sense in that way. My critique also comes from the start of the film. I simply just don't like how the friend group is written. And it makes a little bit more sense later in the movie when you learn they're all kind of like pining after each other and it's like this big love triangle web sort of thing.
Love Square.
A love square. Yeah, I guess it is a love square. But the friends are written in like a very Netflix original movie sort of way. Um, I don't know. It just felt like a little unbelievable to me. But I rewatching it, I also love those moments the most because it's like we get to actually get to know who Nikki is. So I feel like it's like those glimpses of like, okay, like who is Nikki and like it makes what she's going through like way more impactful later in the movie because the only time we really see Nikki is like the first 15 minutes and then the last
Yeah.
minute at the end.
And I also liked rewatching it too because you kind of see what's the guy friend's name?
I don't remember.
You can see him setting up Bear to fail a few times.
Yeah.
Like with the Freaky Nikki thing. He's like, oh, just call her Freaky Nikki, like she'll like laugh it off, knowing that they like have been sleeping together and that there's this like other
Yeah.
sort of thing. Like he was kind of causing this thing to not happen for him.
Yeah.
A certain way.
They're all kind of like coded as bad people in a way, except for Sarah. She doesn't really give you any reason to believe that. But Nikki's kind of weird because she like antagonizes Bear a lot. And you kind of get the impression that like I don't know, is she leading Bear on? Or I guess not because she straight up asks him if he's interested.
Right.
But like she definitely seems like she plays with him a lot.
Yes.
But she also like there's that kind of strange moment where she steals $20 from Sarah to give to like the homeless man at the bar. Which is kind of like, why is that there? Why is that in the movie?
It was kind of random for sure. And I think maybe it was like attempting to be like a humanizing element.
Yeah.
Like to add a little like the shallowest depth to a character. Like, oh, I'm giving this homeless person some money. Like,
yeah, and that's why the writing of particularly the friend group in the beginning just feels a little clunky to me.
Yeah.
That's why it took me a second to get on board, but then I was completely there. Do you have any other remaining thoughts about this film?
I feel like we have to quickly talk about the ending of the movie because
yes,
amazing.
Yeah,
I'm gonna shove the barrel of this gun up my pussy, Bear, and I'm gonna throw up on you.
Yes, that is so. Give me more of that.
That whole scene. One was so loud, which I loved.
Yeah,
it was so like that droning, that like I gotta know how to describe it. Just that sound that it was making, and then like her doing all the yelling and the smacking her head with the brick, turning around, killing the other guy like it was nothing.
Yes,
boom, dead.
And there's also that weird moment where she goes in reverse.
Yeah.
Which that was so uncanny. Like one of the scariest moments of the film. It's just like, what the fuck is happening? Like,
yes.
Crazy.
Loved. That was actually the one moment I laughed out loud in the theater. And luckily it was so loud. It was happening when she turned around and shot what's his name like he was nothing.
Yeah.
I cackled. Sorry, I had to laugh.
Ian?
Isn't it? Ian, yes. Okay. When she shot Ian, I giggled.
I mean, we know this movie was written by like a comedy writer. It's like, hey guys, I just got $1 billion.
It really works. And of course, the ending is very dark, and I'm glad it ended in a dark way because I don't know. I'm thinking that's just like in the season of like horror that I'm in. Like that's kind of what I'm looking for, and that is. I thought it was terrifying, and I knew it was coming. Like when he took those pills and the thing cracked, and they were like, "Oh, they're in love, they're gonna," and then I said, "He's gonna die, and she's gonna snap out of it," and that's horrifying. Like that is just like a
It is.
situation that like unspeakably terrifying. I
Maybe that's why they call it horror. Like
and
that is like the worst possible situation to be in. And just like that ending sequence where it's like in the bathroom, then you hear the thing crack, then he walks out, and then he's in love with her, and then it's just like bada boom, bada boom, bada boom, bada boom. It's like the perfect final
yeah,
few moments. And then there's just like that really random, profound moment for like 10 seconds where they look at each other, and for just a glimpse, like ships passing in the night, or like the moon and the sun like rising and setting, they are like actually in love with each other, and they're both equally obsessed with each other.
Nikki's busted open head. She's like,
No.
she's like,
Yeah.
she's so in love.
This is an audio medium.
It is well. I have a video element. The camera. Look up there.
Oh.
Hey, say hello.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yes,
There's a
yes,
camera in my bedroom. Huh.
Live
I wonder how they got there.
to my bedroom.
Oh.
Whoa!
Looks like I have a secret admirer.
It's almost like I'm obsessed with you.
Oh. Okay. Yeah. Beautiful ending.
And there's nothing more to be said.
There's nothing more to be said. What do you rate this movie? What do you think?
What am I doing out of 5 or out of 10?
I like out of 5.
Out of 5, I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5.
Okay. I am going to give it a Nick pick, which more specifically, I would say 4 or 4.5 out of 5. Yes. And I think we mentioned this earlier too, but our recent viewing that we did together with friend of the pod, Gavin, was on his TV at home. Gavin, you bought this digitally.
I bought this digitally.
Yes. This was our first time not seeing the movie in theaters. So obviously that's a different experience altogether. But Gavin, we watched it in daylight, which is one thing. And with all the love in the world to Gavin, the settings on his TV, the brightness is like turned up too high.
Yes.
And it really did, I think, ruin certain elements of this movie.
Absolutely. If you have to experience this movie in a digital format, turn the brightness down on your TV.
Yeah.
And be like me and buy it on digital, and also wait for the production company to release a cool DVD so I can buy it.
Which they're absolutely going to do. Buy physical if you can, please. But yeah, so I turned to you at some moments and I was like, I remember like we only saw shadows in this part, and we're actually
Right. It's like
now
fully
seeing
lit.
her full silhouette, which ruined like some really special moments of the movie. So definitely be really careful with how you watch this. Make sure it is the perfect atmosphere. But yeah, I love this movie. I think we could go on for hours and hours about how great this movie is and all the cool things about it. But we won't do that. But Dillon, thank you so much for joining.
Thanks for having me. This is so fun.
Oh my gosh,
So-
yes. I can't wait to have you back for the next episode, which will be a review of me sleeping in my bedroom, the tapes.
I can't wait.
Yes,
Wait.
yes. Log that one on Letterboxd.
Yes, the Blair Witch Project.